always the children. Welcome back, this is Bob, and welcome back to part 4 of the Burt Munro Challenge 2023 down in Invercargill. And on the Saturday morning we went out to Oreti Beach on the beautiful coast of Invercargill to watch the beach racing. Just a straight down and straight back arrangement, half a mile, just over 800 metres. The race distances out of the 11 classes racing that day were from 3 laps up to 50 miles, up to 50 laps worth. So there was a lot of racing to be had with all sorts of classes like this pretty old looking two-stroke dirt bike there. Quad bikes of different kinds, different specs. You'll see this last one coming up here in a moment that had been modified, and I think it was running like a 4-cylinder engine from like a sports bike, and a bit of a tail on the back. Here it comes as it screamed down the beach. Track was a bit bumpy down this sort of main straight near the starting area, just from the roll of the sea. Now, this is not one of the classes that I caught where they were really screaming down the beach, but some of the classes, they were just absolutely screaming. Like there was a guy now, like a 1290 KTM, who was really leading the pack, probably in the open class. And man, he was belting down the beach. It was incredible. And the quicker that a lot of these guys went, they took a wider turn on the corners. They didn't sort of hug that corner. They came in from quite the angle. So they'd finished the races just up by those white safety barriers there and sort of peel off to the left and then ride back to the pits. They didn't have to do like a full lap after the finish line was crossed, which is just here by that group of people, the guy with the flag. Oh, the Harley XR 1200, I don't know how good that would have been. I mean, he was generally at the back. It would have been quite a heavy bike, but good on them. Good on people riding what they've brought to the rally in the different events. Great turnout. The weather was lovely after the previous couple of days of being a bit rainy. Oh, watch out. There we go. I only saw that after I'd filmed it. So but lots of people, and again, typical Kiwi motorsport environment. You could get near the pits, you could walk through the pits, you could stand near the start line, at the back of the start line, as this group of bikes gets ready to go. Not sure the class, they all look a little bit older. Lots of 2 strokes, lots of smoke, and off they roar up the beach. Gets pretty soft from the start area because they keep obviously chewing up. But you know, the sound is pretty robust throughout the whole day. Now, I'm not sure what this bike's running. I want to say it's like a BSA engine in like a Yamaha looking arrangement. So interesting kit that people have. And once again, just the bike park, looking around at what people have ridden to these events just always interests me. And if you're a bit of a bike lover, then you'll probably feel the same about these events, that there's always something different to see. No 2 bikes are the same, even when they look a little similar. They're not the same. A few trikes parked up there. Pretty keen to park on the beach in the first place, but always love a Trumpy. Looks like an old Bonnie from the early 70s, that one. I could be very wrong there. This is what a couple of people have done to their Goldwings. I don't know if it's the local Goldwing Trike Club, but it might be. But that's a lot of bike right there to get along the road. And look, a windscreen wiper. I'm not sure how effective that would be on like Lexan or plastic over time, but interesting. So here's a bunch of diners. You got 5 diners in a row, Harley-Davidsons. All slightly modified differently. Really cool. The individualism of the motorcycling community, I think, is what I like the most. The variety, the different flavours that people put on things. It's really good. It's an old Indian. I mean, gosh, who knows how old someone does, but that's a flathead looking one, so it's probably from like the 40s. Old BSA, looks like a 650 twin with an outfit, Harley Deluxe, and then a beautiful BSA gold flash star. Something of those words are in the name, I'm sure. But beautiful to see these old machines still being used today, 50, 60 years later. I think we spent just as long walking around looking at all the bikes in the parking area. It was great. Time to do a bit of viewing at the museum at Motorcycle Mecca, which has a big cafe down at the ground floor and lots of bikes and other things. A few other racing vehicles, a few cars in the basement area that they've recently added to. And then a mid layer and then an upper layer of bikes. This is just the entranceway. That's the people that have been part of bringing the collection together. That's a Bruff Superior just quickly there to the right in a new version from a few years ago. It's an interesting bike, all handmade. Now there's a John Britton special area which just showcases some of his engineering and design skill. From modified other manufacturers' bikes through to him creating more and more of the different bikes that he made, through to the bikes that were wholly built from his workshop in Christchurch. Sections of engine. Some really good memorabilia in that display there. So this is the main entrance to the first floor, the middle floor. All kinds of all brands. There's lots and lots of bikes. Lots of, I guess, older bikes. Nothing too new. That looks like a customised Rick Fairless paint job just by looking at that. There's no one else that sort of does it that way. Some wonderful old, like early O's and early teens, like an Excelsior there. Excelsior Henderson, Indians. Just phenomenal where motorcycling has come from. Really bicycles with engines. A few sort of 50s, I want to say, a Harley XK model, I think it might be, or even a forerunner to that. 4-cylinder Excelsior Hendersons, amazing, 4 cylinders in a row, quite big engine displacements, maybe a good 1,000 there for the day. Beautifully made, just awesome to look at the detailing and how they did things. And we slightly get a little newer here with some 30s Indians, possibly into the 40s there. The Panhead Harley, that's late 40s, 50s I want to say. The Knucklehead Harley, that's definitely 30s and 40s. Oh, and that's not even an overhead valve Harley, so that's even earlier. What a sad thing to see, a lovely Bonnie sitting up on a shelf. Use it! But lots of these bikes are just so gorgeous to look at in this one building. Lots of bikes are way out of business now, that the names are gone, but they remain. There's a Norton, it's not like the new branded Nortons in any way, but the name that's still living on. There's that Bonnie from the other side. What's that, a Rudge? Really substantial mechanics on these bikes back in the day. A Royal Enfield, not too dissimilar to some of their newer stuff now, which you can tell they've linked it to. Now that looks like a handbrake lever down the left hand side there. A BSA Sloper engine, another old Rudge. V-twins were really the way to go for many brands. Now this Henderson here, it just went on, and look at where you put your feet, and there's still like lots of tank in front of you, amazing. Big acetylene gas powered lamps on them. A few more modern bikes upstairs now. And just so many Brough Superiors and amazing bikes that you see go off at auctions for, you know, multiple thousands of dollars. It's amazing. Beautiful old Norton. Not quite sure the displacement. Oh, 750, I think. And a Vincent, that's right, a Black Shadow. I think that might be called, or a Rapide. Oh, it's called Black Shadow. I can see it on the front guard. And these are the Brough Superiors, and they just have lots of them. Amazing to see. And I wonder what the whole building's collection would be worth. I mean, a modern classic, it's still from the 70s. It's over 40 years old now, but a Honda 6. What do you know, I've found another Triumph. Beautiful old pre-unit from probably the 50s. I think they went unit in about 63 with the Bonnevilles. A Matisse Triumph Scrambler style bike. They still make those new in the UK to order, small factory there. And then just wandering through the upper floor, bike after bike. You can't rush through this when you're visiting. I've been a few times to this museum, and every time I just take my time. Some aerials. I was telling my sons who are with me on the trip that the Square 4, a nickname for them, is called a squarial. Look at all these. Gosh, just the value of these bikes sitting there would be amazing. But they were good for like over 100 miles an hour, over 160k back in the day in like the 30s. Well, here's the lads having some fun. Yeah, that's them in the background still. So I'm not sure what it is about the sound here, but they are boys. But each of those little model bikes had a different type of rev sound to them. And anyone could sit on and give them a rev and make a noise. It was fun. It's the simple things, isn't it? Just another Brough sitting there. How many is that? 10? Now these are the bikes that were made to support the movie, the World's Fastest Indian, and even this one here that looks like the old Indian that Burt would have raced is actually a model, or it was a working replica for the movies. Board tracker type of section. Just amazing. That would have been loud. Look at the pipes. Well, we're nearly at the end of this 4th episode. Join me again real soon for what will be probably the last episode of this Burt Munro Challenge 2023 with me and the lads. Catch you later. This is Bob Bob.